Thanksgiving again. And again, I discussed the Stanley Cup. I know that's got downvotes. Can't wait to see the downvotes on this one. So, awards. Let's go with the easy ones. The Rocket Richard Trophy, if it was handed out today, goes to Nikita Kucherov with his first. The Art Ross handed out today goes to Steven Stamkos. They're the winners. The Jennings Trophy for best goals against average is shared between Martin Jones and Aaron Dell in San Jose. So Tampa, San Jose, those awards are given. But the ones that have to be voted on are a little more difficult. Let's start with the Adams. And a lot of coaches. Gallant, Green, Cooper, Waite, Yo, Hines, Maurice, and Stevens. If you're a Winnipeg fan, the idea that Paul Maurice could be nominated for Coach of the Year would have been a shock to you at the start of the season. Because Paul Maurice has been criticized a lot by Winnipeg fans. And I think a lot of it's fair. But because the team has improved so much this season, he has to be in the mix. Stevens in LA, Hines in New Jersey, Yo in St. Louis, Waite with the Islanders, Cooper with Tampa, Green with Vancouver, and Gallant with Vegas. This is where I have an issue with the Adams Trophy. It is not a measure of the best coach. It is a measure of the hottest coach. It is a measure of which team has improved the most during this season. Which team has surprised the most during this season. And if we're going to talk about a surprise, there's no greater surprise than the Vegas Golden Knights. There's no surprise greater than the team that Gerard Gallant is currently leading. Gerard Gallant would absolutely win the Adams Trophy if it were handed out right now. That's just how it works. Selke. Let's look at Selke. Now, I don't like doing Selke, and I'll explain why. Almost every team has a really good defensive forward. And I think while Patrice Bergeron owns this award, I think a lot of that has to do with reputation. And I say that as a Bergeron fan in Boston. I love the guy. But I think in terms of defensive forwards, there are a lot of guys who could be equal to him easily. It's just a matter of once you win that first one, you're in the mix for more. Look at Kessler, for instance. Vancouver fans knew Kessler was a good defensive forward for years before he won a Selke. After he wins it, he gets more notoriety for it. So, and I could mention Backlund here for Calgary. And, I didn't put him in those four. I looked at the voting from last year because that gives you a feel for who may very well be in the mix this year. Again, a lot of it has to do with reputation. I think Stone will garner votes out of Ottawa if he continues to have the season he's having now, because Stone's not going to win the Richard, the Art Ross, or the Hart. So sometimes the Selke or the Lady Bing get handed to a guy who should get an award. So basically guys go, well, this guy should get an award. He's a really good forward. And he may get some Selke votes. That being said, I don't think he wins it. Koivu's going to be in the mix. If Minnesota misses the playoffs, I can't see him getting there. Again, it's weird. You're giving out individual awards, but when your team misses the playoffs, odds are no matter how great you've played, it's harder to win that individual award. It's easier for a guy in a team that's played really well and got a lot of attention as a first place team to get that reward. Bergeron and Barkov, I think, are going to be the final two. And I think this year we're going to see something amazing in the breakthrough of Barkov. I think Barkov in Florida is going to also break that stigma that I just said about how if you miss the playoffs, you likely don't win an award. Barkov is putting up a ton of points. Barkov's also a fantastic defensive forward. And there's been enough of a buzz about him for long enough that I think he can win his first Selke, and it won't be his last. And again, this is just based on the first quarter. So again, if you're saying, well, by the end of the year, this is going to change. Yeah, I'm just saying if the awards were handed out today, this is who wins them. Now, I'm looking for the least controversial award. Let's look at the Calder. So, Keller, Besser, Barzal, Butcher, Sergachev, McAvoy, Kerfoot. And that's leaving out Hischier, who could work himself into the mix as well by the end of the year. I don't see Sergachev winning it, but he'll be in the mix. I don't see Butcher winning it. He'll be in the mix. I think McAvoy could get himself votes based on how many important minutes he's playing for the Bruins. His stats aren't fantastic, but he's on pace for 41 points. What might hold him back is that stat everybody hates, which is plus minus. He's a -4 if he ends up a minus 16 or 17 by the end of the year. He's not winning the Calder. And I don't like plus minus any more than anybody else, but it's still a stat that people look at. I think Kerfoot will fall off. I don't think he'll end up with 60 points. Probably end up with about 45, 50, which is still pretty darn good. Butcher, I'm still waiting for him to fall off. He hasn't yet. So that would leave Barzal, Besser, and Keller. Now, Keller has slowed down a lot. So while he's still the sexy pick and everybody talks about Keller, he has fallen off the pace. And Barzal had that great 5-assist game, but he's still, I believe, third in scoring among rookies. Right now, if the award was given out right now, I don't see how it doesn't go to Brock. He has a hat trick and 2 2-goal games to his name right now. He's the leading scorer. He's got 21 points in 19 games. I think Brock Besser would win it right now. By the end of the year, I expect Barzal to probably win it. Something tells me that Matt Barzal, by the end of the year, is the Rookie of the Year. I don't know that Keller's going to be able to get it back. I think Keller's going to end up probably 20 to 25 goals, but I think Barzal's still going to end up with about 50 assists, maybe 60. And if he gets into that 50 to 60 assist range, he will be nominated, and I think he'll get a lot of votes. I really do. Especially if those assists are not related to Tavares. If it's not a matter of, well, he just passes it to Tavares and Tavares scores. As long as that's not the case, he gets the chance. So as long as it's Bailey that's feeding Tavares and Barzal is feeding other people, he has a good shot. Okay, Norris. I put Pietrangelo, Doughty, Hedman, and Karlsson up here. This is going to be tough because right now, based on play right now, Karlsson doesn't make the top 3. In my eyes, Karlsson doesn't make the top 3. Does he get voted into the top 3? Probably. Doughty's played really well for the first quarter of the season. The man's on a mission. Doughty's never been a big scorer. Never will be. But he's a beast out there, and he gets votes. When he's playing well, and when the Kings are playing well, and they're in the top 10 in the NHL, Doughty gets votes. In fact, mentioning Kings, Kopitar could get votes for that Selke trophy. He's had them before. So what that would leave is Hedman and Pietrangelo fighting it out with Doughty. Now, Hedman doesn't get as much press as the other guys on this board. But Victor Hedman has become an excellent defenseman for Tampa. Now, if Hedman can score at a Karlsson-type pace, maintain a defensive intensity, he can come in and win this. But right now, if you have to hand the award out right now, Pietrangelo's the winner. I have no doubt in my mind that if the award was handed out right now, Pietrangelo would be the winner. And it'll be interesting to see if, at the halfway mark, when I try this again, if we're still looking at the same award winners. Are we still looking at the same guys that we're saying, yep, great, because this jersey I'm wearing here of Ryan Suter's, Suter halfway through the season last year looked like he had a good shot at the Norris. Wasn't in the top 3. He wore down. There are guys who are playing very well through the first quarter who will wear down, and there are guys who are underperforming during the first quarter. I'm looking at Brent Burns, who will pick it up. And Burns, honestly, he's on pace for 33 points right now. That's not bad. I mean, it's all assists, but it's not bad, and I think he'll still turn it on, probably score 10 to 15 goals, probably about 55 points. Burns may end up having a say in this before all's said and done. Vezina, and this is tough. You got Bobrovsky, Crawford, Vasilevsky, Quick, Rinne, and Smith. And I got Smith on the board because Calgary's nowhere without Mike Smith. Nowhere. Rinne's been great. Quick has backed off from those really heady stats he was putting up early. But he's still in the mix. And I don't have Dubnyk in the mix because, again, if your team's not in the playoffs right now, and Minnesota's tied for not in the playoffs, you likely don't get many votes. It's not really all that fair. And then for me with Dubnyk too, outside of that great week he had, where he had the 3 shutouts, some of his stats have been a little bit middling. So for me, these guys have been a little more consistent. Vasilevsky, Crawford, and Bobrovsky. The funny part is, like, Bobrovsky had a shutout last night. He had 22 saves in it. Vasi's been playing very, very well. So if I had to say which 3 were going to get nominated, I think it'd probably be Bobrovsky, Vasilevsky, and Quick. And I know if you're a Blackhawks fan, you're going to say, wait a minute, Crawford wouldn't get nominated? Probably not. Crawford doesn't get the respect that he should whenever you do awards voting. I don't know why that is, but he usually doesn't. So honestly, for Vezina, yeah, I'm going with the top again. Because Bobrovsky won it last year, it's easier to give it to the guy who just won it. That would be Bobrovsky. I believe Bobrovsky's 3rd. And there's even some talk about nominating him for the Hart. I left him out of that. Because to me, he's not in that conversation yet. He's getting there. So, I've got 4 guys for the Hart. And I had to add McDavid for one reason. Edmonton is awful. How much worse would they be without Connor? They'd be Arizona bad. Connor's put up some very solid numbers already this year. Connor McDavid is absolutely worthy of any praise that he gets for the fact that he's performing really well right now. And this includes about a 10-game period where he was scoring around a point a game, which is low for him. So he's played very well. Kucherov and Stamkos, here's the Hart problem. The issue. Stamkos has all these assists. Kucherov has all these goals. Is Stamkos more important for passing to Stamkos? Is Stamkos more important for passing to Kucherov? Is Kucherov the more important one because he's getting all these goals? They take opposite sides of the ice, and it's lethal. No matter who has the puck, it's lethal. Do they, on their own, represent the Hart Trophy winner? Can Stamkos or Kucherov on their own argue that they're the Hart Trophy winner? Here's the other problem. Kucherov with the Richard, Stamkos with the Art Ross. Does Johnny Gaudreau slide in there and get the Hart? Because I've argued before, and I will admit that Sean Monahan deserves a lot of credit for where Calgary is as well. But Gaudreau is the one driving that ship. Gaudreau is the one that makes Calgary potentially a home ice team in the first round. So, if anything happened to Gaudreau, I have to say of any of the guys on this chart, yes, if McDavid falls apart, Edmonton's even worse. The thing is, McDavid won't get anything for Hart Trophy consideration with where Edmonton is right now. Won't happen. Stamkos and Kucherov split the vote. They would split it. And Gaudreau would slide in and get that. In my opinion, Gaudreau right now would be the Hart Trophy winner. So, in my world, right now, there's a trophy for a lot of teams. The only one that comes out with multiple trophies is Tampa. And that's only because of scoring. Because they have the Art Ross winner and the Richard winner right now. So again, this is just at the quarter pole. This is just who I think wins right now at the quarter pole. You guys can let me know what you think in the comment section below. Before anybody asks, yes, Tavares would likely be ahead of McDavid. I just had to have McDavid on the board just to make that argument. And yeah, if Tavares wasn't there for the Islanders, they would be pretty much toast. But for me right now, and it's close, but I would have Gaudreau ahead of those 4. And while I think these two would split the vote, I do think if you had nominations right now, your finalists would be Gaudreau, Kucherov, and Stamkos. But again, let me know what you think in the comment section below. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. And let me know your winners. It's only a quarter of the way through the season, and this is just for fun. So let me know what you guys think, and I'll talk to you again soon.